Hello everyone and welcome to another video on the Casio CTX-3000 and also the Casio CTS-1000V. In this video I'm going to be comparing basic operations between the two keyboards, so you can see how to select a tone, how to create a layer or a split, and just showing you the procedure on each keyboard so you can see the difference in the way the two keyboards operate. First of all, the most obvious thing about the CTX-3000 is the fact that there's a lot more dedicated buttons and controls on the keyboard front panel compared with the CTS-1000, and that makes doing some of these operations a little easier in some respects, but also perhaps when you're learning the keyboard for the first time, there's a lot to take in from the front panel. Whereas on the CTS-1000 it's a much more minimal setup, but we've got those 5 buttons beneath the display which change function according to the procedures that you're carrying out. So first of all we're going to select a tone on the CTX, and this is done with the dial, just moving that round. You can do one tone at a time, or you can do much bigger sweeps. And you can also use the plus and minus buttons to go up or down by 1. And if you press both of those buttons at the same time, it'll take you back to the first tone, which is stage piano. We've also got a category button, and these are listed, the categories are on the front panel. And then once you're within those categories, again you can use the dial to step through the tones, the plus and minus buttons. If I press the plus and minus buttons here, it'll actually take me back to the beginning of this category. And another way of selecting tones is we've got a keypad, so we can type in a number. To immediately select the tone that we desire. So the first thing we're going to do is to select a tone, and you do that by pressing the tone mode select button here, or you can press tone up here, and then use the dial to select your tone. And you can do big sweeps through. You can also use the plus and minus buttons here now to step up or down by 1. And you can use the category buttons here to move through the categories. If you press both of these category buttons, we'll go back to the first category, which has the stage piano. And also if you press both the plus and minus buttons together, we go back to piano as well. Next we're going to create a right hand layer of 2 tones, and on the CTX we've got a dedicated button here for creating an upper layer. So at the moment we've just got piano, press the button and we get upper 2 appear on the screen, and now we've got 2 tones, and we can select this second tone in the usual way with the dial or with the plus and minus, or typing the numbers in here as well. Now we're going to create a right hand layer, so we'll have 2 tones layered on top of each other. So again, press the tone mode select button, and you should find now that this button here says layer, so we just press that, and then on the screen U2 means upper layer 2, and we can just select the tone, the second tone, in the usual way. We can use category search as well. also the plus and minus. Now we're going to set the balance between these two tones on the CTX, and the way to do that is to hold down the mixer button, and then on the keypad we've got some arrows here, up and down arrows, and if we go down we'll get to volume, and at the moment on the screen number 1 is flashing, so that means I can alter the volume of tone number 1 and just use the dial to change that value. Or if you want to type in the number, you press 0 on the keypad, which says number, and then you can type the value that you want. If I want to change the volume on the second tone, I need to move along this line. So number 2 is now flashing. So we can adjust the volume of these strings in the same way as before. And we can also press number and then type in a value. Now we're going to set the balance between the upper tones, and here we're going to press the menu button. And now these buttons on either side are acting as arrows, so we're going to press one of those and get to balance. So press that, and now we can change the balance of the parts. So at the moment we've got upper part number 1, U1, and we can use the dial to change that value. So that upper tone of the piano is getting quieter. Again, by pressing the plus and minus, it'll reset to whichever value it started out. So it's gone back to 127. If I want to change upper 2 part volume, again use the dial, and then to reset press plus and minus together. And now we're going to create a split, so let's exit the mixer first of all, and we're back to 2 tones, 2 layers. And we've got a dedicated split button here, so we just need to press that button, and up on the display it says L1, and we've got a bass tone, and we've got a split point just here, just below middle C. I can change this tone in the usual way. If we want to change the split point on the CTX, we can hold down the split button and then just press a key on the keyboard itself. Now we're going to create a split. So again, go back to menu, and here we're going to press this button here which says split, and now the display says L, so that shows us a left hand tone or a lower tone. We've still got our 2 upper tones, and we can change the tone for the lower half of the keyboard in the usual way. So there's a bass tone now, and our split is here. Now we want to change the split point. So if we just exit, we don't need to press menu, we can get back to split. And if you hold down split, split point appears, and here you'll need to use the dial to change the split point. So now the split point is the C4 in the middle of the keyboard, and if I go to the next note down, you can hear the bass tone come in. And now we're going to balance the left tone, and this is done in the same way as when we were balancing the two upper tones. So we're going to hold down the mixer button, and the up and down arrows will scroll through various settings, and we want it on volume, and we want it on part number 3, which is the lower tone 1, and we can change the volume in the usual way with the dial or with plus and minus buttons, or typing in a value here as well. So this is where you would adjust the balance between the upper tones. If we want to change the balance of the left tone, it's the same as before. We press the menu button and then use the right and left arrows that appear until you find balance. Press this button for lower, and now we can change the volume of the lower tone. Plus and minus to reset. On the CTX, we have the added bonus of being able to have two tones in the left side of the keyboard. And the way to do that is to hold down this upper layer button to access the lower layer. You can see on the display it says lower layer here, and on the screen it says lower 2 now. And in my left hand I've got the bass and some synth strings, and we can change these tones in the usual way. Notice on the display, if we want to change a particular tone, a layer, upper 1, upper 2, lower 1 or lower 2, we need to move this cursor to another point, and the way to do that is just to press the tone button, and now it's shifted to upper 1, press it again, upper 2, lower 1, lower 2. And now we're going to have a go at changing the octave, and on the CTX we've got an octave button here. So if we press that, you can see upper 1 has a value of 0. You can use the dial to move it up to 3 octaves above or 3 octaves below. We can also adjust the octaves of the splits and the layers. So let's put a layer back in. And if we use the arrows here, we now switch to upper 2 octave. So I can change the octave of the strings. I can move it below as well. And you can also access these parameters within the function button. If we just exit from here, and get into function. Use the arrows until you get to octave and then press enter, and again you can see how you can adjust the upper 1, upper 2, lower 1, lower 2 octaves as well. If we want to change the octave of parts, let's exit from there. Again, press the menu and use the right or left arrows until we find octave shift. Press that button, and here we can change the upper tones together. If we've got two together, we can change them individually, the upper 1 or the upper 2, and we can also change lower. So if I press upper like this, the piano and strings are both changing octaves together. If I want to put the strings up an octave, which is the second tone, press upper 2. You can hear now that the strings have shifted. Now we're going to select a rhythm. So on your front panel, we've been dealing with tone. Next to the tone button is the rhythm button. So we just press that button, and now we've got a rhythm. And these rhythms are also broken up into categories here, which we can step through using the category button. And use the dial to select, or the plus and minus buttons as well. And once we're within a category, we can also just type in the 3 digits to get to a new rhythm. In order to play a rhythm, we need to turn the accompaniment on, which is this button here. So press that button, and on the display you'll see it says accompaniment. Synchro start is here. So now when I press a key or a chord in my left hand, it'll start generating the rhythm pattern. And I've got a stop button here. I've also got buttons for variations and fills, and also an intro button at the beginning as well. And we've also even got a synchro stop button, which will just stop the rhythms when you lift your hand off the keyboard. If we want to add variations and fills as we're playing, we just touch these buttons. And the display will also tell you which variation you're on and whether you're on a fill as well. Next to the tone button, we've got the rhythm button. And just like with tone, we can use the wheel or the dial to select the next rhythm, the plus and minus button, and also category as well. Pressing them both together will take us back to the very first one, like that. If you press the back button there, you should see these 5 buttons appear, and the one on the end is for accompaniment. So if I press that one, accompaniment is now turned on. So when I play a chord, you'll hear a full sound of a chord. If I press sync start and then start playing, the rhythm will begin. and you can see how you can use the fill-ins and the variations. There are only 2 variations per rhythm. We can change the tempo here by pressing the tempo button and tapping a tempo, and the display will show the new tempo. If we press tap start and then tap the tempo, it will automatically start playing the rhythm at the new tempo. Now we're going to record a song track into the song memory, and the way to do that is to press the song bank button. And in the CTX we've got 10 multi-track songs that we can record, and there are also some preset songs as well. I'm going to use this one here, multi-track number 3. To record a track, I just press the record stop button, and then I can use the dial to select which track I want to record. I'm going to record onto track number 1, and you can also select your tone here as well. It's already set to piano, and I can just start playing. When you've finished recording, press record stop. You can press start and stop down here to listen back. And it's more or less the same procedure for recording a second track. So we press the record stop button, select the track we want to record. Let's change the tone. And then as soon as I start playing, you'll hear the other track, and I'll be recording the strings on top. Press record stop to finish. Press start and stop to listen back to the song. And now we'll have a go at just recording a simple track on a song. So first of all, a long press on record brings up a multi-track recording space. There are 5 songs or 5 spaces where we can do multi-track recording. So we'll put it on multi-track record number 1. Now we'll do a short press on record, followed by a long press, and that brings up this button that says record track. So we'll press that, and we can select which track we're going to record. I'm going to record into track number 1. I can select the tone that I want to use. We'll leave it on stage piano, and then as soon as I start playing, it'll start recording. We've got record written at the top of the display. And then when I finish recording, press the record button, and that's all done. Now we can record a second track along with that. So again, it's a short press on record, followed by a long press, so that we can select the track we want to record into. So press the record track button and then use the dial, and we've got the second track selected. Here I can change my tone that I'm going to play on track number 2. Let's move it up into a string tone. And as soon as I start playing, it'll start recording. When I finish, press record, press play to listen to the two tracks at the same time. So I hope you found that useful. If you've got either of these keyboards or you're thinking of getting one of them, or perhaps even if you've got both keyboards, they have some overlap, but they also have some differences in the way they operate as well. So thanks for watching. Please leave a comment and subscribe. All the best.